Good afternoon. FareShare is a nonprofit that was formed in 2004 in the United Kingdom to fight against food waste. Right now, about 5.8 million people struggle to buy food in the UK because of poverty, yet nearly 4 million tons of food is wasted every year by the food and beverage industry. That's unacceptable, and we can do better. More than 9,000 pounds of food is wasted a year, instead of going to help more than 200,000 vulnerable people. But right now, we're already making a difference. Already, FareShare has provided 18.3 million meals with people who struggle with food insecurity. So you can see that FareShare's success is the nation's success. It can be hard to believe, but in the United Kingdom, up to 40% of food is rejected, not because it's gone bad or past its expiration date, but only because it isn't considered attractive. That's a staggering number when you realize that 5.8 million people struggle to afford food in this country. Now, what do I mean when I say food waste? What does that mean? Let's define this issue. According to the UK Food Standard Agency, food poverty is the inability of people to obtain an adequate and nutritious diet. In Europe, 122 million people, 24.4%, were at risk of poverty or social exclusion because of poverty. In that group, 55 million people, 9.6%, were not able to afford a quality meal. No meat, no chicken, fish, or vegetables. And even worse, globally, about one-third of food produced for human consumption, that's 1.3 billion metric tons per year, is lost or wasted. That's according to the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United States. These are big numbers, huge numbers. And there's a reason for this. Often it's because of oversupply in the market, rigorous aesthetic standards for produce, and even to people's shopping and eating habits. And it's not going to get better if something isn't done. According to the European Commission, if nothing is done, food waste will grow 40% by 2020. Reducing the number of people at risk of poverty in the EU is one of the key targets of the Europe Strategy of 2020. How do we stop this? We need our stakeholders to help. Food industry retailers, the government, volunteers, vulnerable people, charities, media, and trade organizations. All of them. They all have a stake in this problem, and they need to be part of the solution, which is why this campaign focuses on them. Primary research gauges the awareness of our stakeholders to assess the thoughts and opinions of consumers. It also lets us know about the level of awareness, attitudes about food waste, and the insight into the problem. Qualitative research was done with a non-profitability convenience sample of grocery shoppers in the UK, as well as an in-depth interview technique with 10 people. The 10 respondents were given a set of closed and open-ended questions by a researcher. Now, one thing to realize about this study is that no one who participated in our survey had ever benefited from a meal served by a soup kitchen or a similar organization. Here's our biggest takeaways. Overall, people said the appearance of food is important. Most people don't buy food approaching the expiration date unless it's on sale and they know they are going to eat it right away. And when asked what they thought of what happens when food wasn't bought, interviewees admitted that it probably went to waste or was destroyed. 2 people who responded to our survey said it would be nice if the food was repurposed to feed animals, and 2 mentioned the grocery store PERT as an organization that donates unsold food to people in need. A couple of interviews were skeptical about food labeling and the validity of expiration dates. We also tested a new slogan, FareShare, for FareShare, Eat Beautifully, Not Beautiful. It was well received. People said the slogan means going beyond the superficial appearance of the food and instead consider its nutrients. That's exactly what we wanted. This information is very useful, and we can use it as a baseline for a strategic communications campaign, as well as the planning and implementation of this campaign. It's the framework we can use as benchmarks for setting goals, managing and measuring evaluation outputs and outtakes, as well as outcomes of this campaign. We still need some additional information to investigate food retailers and other select stakeholders' attitudes about food waste. FareShare's goal is to reduce food waste in the UK, augment the quality of food redistributed through an increase in the number of charity partners, donations, volunteers, and food industry businesses providing FareShare with surplus food. Doing this will reduce food waste, and people's lives just will be better. Our secondary research and situational analysis shows that an effort response to food waste has to start with increasing public awareness, educating the public about this problem that is essential to changing people's attitudes and behavior and stopping the massive amounts of food that is wasted. Overall, our goal is to decrease food waste from 3 kilograms to 1.5 kilograms per week, reducing the disposal of food by grocery stores in the UK by 10% and doubling food distribution from 18 to 30% per year. Now, everyone needs a good game plan. Agenda setting, two-step flow, and framing theory are our tools. Groening's excellence theory and two-way symmetrical modeling are also helpful. We're taking out messaging to the media, mainstream as well as an aggressive social media campaign. Informative messaging will engage the media and transfer the salience of food waste and increased poverty into the news feed. That's our target public's agenda. We're taking our message and we're going to take these messages to the media. The mainstream media also is extremely important, but social media here is where it's really at. We want people to think before they toss it. Let's talk about eat beautifully, not beautiful again. Strategic communications campaign messaging will use the framing theory to package this key message about the nutritional value of food over appearances. We're going to use Colin Firth, the actor, and the slogan to have a two-way dialogue with the public. We want them to be part of this conversation. We want to give them our input, and we want them to give us their input. We also want these people to volunteer and donate to help us. Now, we need a big name in this game, a really big name, a well-respected, trusted spokesperson. I can't think of anyone more up to the job than actor Colin Firth. He's respected by our target audience. He'll keep on message, and most importantly, he believes in what we are doing. We can accomplish our goals with 6 key elements: prevention, redistribution, engagement, implement agenda-setting theory, traditional and social media campaigns, and, of course, our key celebrity spokesperson. To be effective, our brand ambassador needs to believe in your brand as much as we do, if not more than we do. Firth and his wife are both outspoken advocates for sustainability. They're so committed in reducing waste that, I'm not kidding, they even buy watches made from recycled wood, and they only buy clothes that can be worn at least 30 times. And yes, that does include those fancy premier ball gowns and tuxedos. We're going to have Firth do Facebook Live chats as he makes dinner with those quote-unquote ugly foods. We're going to link his Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook accounts to FareShare's accounts and feature recipes that target key audience. All those accounts and posts will include the hashtag #EatBeautifully, not beautiful. Firth will work with farmers and retailers on a project called A Giving Garden, where unattractive produce, things that normally would not be sold, will instead be donated or sold at lower prices. Every week, Firth will visit a different farm, harvest from the garden, and then he and a few other chefs will use the produce to create a gourmet meal, which will then be served to low-income families. We're going to capture this journey on video for Facebook and Snapchat. Borrowing the equity of our celebrity's image lends a brand instant clout through their social media channels and a more robust relationship filled with media support and brand advocacy. It makes sense to harness the power of his fame to bring a needed layer to our campaign: news value, credibility, and target audience engagement potential, all things that we may be lacking. Outputs will be measured by the TV appearances and articles published about FareShare, and we're going to track the number of likes, shares, and talked about moments. We're going to use outtakes to measure how the targeted public understands the key messages through focus groups and surveys by using primary research results as benchmarks. Outcomes include a shift in awareness and comprehension, attitude and behavior related to donations, brand equity, corporate reputation, farmer engagement, public policy, and other shifts in stakeholder behavior regarding purchases, as well as the stakeholders' own abilities and beliefs and behaviors about food waste. Now, we're pretty ambitious, and we should be. The faster we tackle this issue, the better it is for everyone. The PR campaign will develop over 6 months or 26 weeks. The first 4 weeks will be devoted to the implementation of our recommended primary research and the consequent message development and the consistent message development. Weeks 5 and 6 will focus on proper media list building. In particular, we will analyze the media environment and select the most effective communications tools to reach our target publics. We will then liaise with Tier 1 media, gathering information on angle story preferences, deadlines, and collaboration opportunities. Weeks 7 through 10 focus on reaching out to food industry stakeholders, retailers in particular. We're also going to implement tactics that inform and educate these stakeholders about food waste issues, food redistribution opportunities, and the need to completely rethink the aesthetic standards that retailers stick to about food beauty. During week 11, we will launch the social media campaign, together with the tactics to educate consumers on food waste. Week 22, we will work with Firth to reach out to UK consumers to change their attitudes about, quote, ugly produce. This is also when we will focus on increasing volunteers and donations. Weeks 23 and 24 focus on collecting information, measuring outputs and outtakes, and outcomes of the campaign to see if we are effective. Finally, weeks 24 and 26 are devoted to prepared materials and messages to inform key stakeholders about our campaign's results. This is also when we will recommend future PR plans to stop food waste and food poverty in the UK.